out to be not true.
So do you think the comptroller at the time was overtly lying to you?
Either that or he didn't know what he was doing at the time.
So did you feel duped as a result of it?
I think many of us felt that we all had buyer's remorse over it, just like the citizens have who they voted for 4 years ago. And I say this because under the new parking meter ban, I think we could have made a lot of changes. There would have been. But this new one that this administration has done makes it an ironclad and unbreakable contract. I think the other one was breakable. We could have done that if we had leadership.
All right, let's get the mayor on this. Did you screw up on the redo of the parking meter deal?
Well, first of all, no, I took a big lemon and tried to make a little lemonade out of it. That deal, Bob voted for it, and we're all stuck with it. So I told the firm on day one, I'm not paying these bills. And I said I refused to pay them until they were just mounting and mounting on the desk. We closed a loophole that was costing the taxpayers $1 billion, gave people free Sundays back in the neighborhood, and now you have an app where you can pay by cell so you don't have to get out in the snow and the slush to pay your meter. I will say
does it mean more money? Does that deal mean Chicago is actually getting more money?
What it means was we were stuck with a rotten deal that was not just for a temporary time. What Bob didn't bring up was it was a 75-year deal. And so we were stuck with something. I said I was going to renegotiate it. I said it actually at this forum 4 years ago throughout the campaign. We did renegotiate it. It was a contract. That was a bad deal. It was bad then. It's still bad. But we tried to make a little lemonade out of a big lemon.
Bob, if you're ready, let's move on to another topic, and that has to do with city finances. No one believes that the city of Chicago can solve its revenue problem without at least putting property taxes on the table. Why not just say it and be real?
Because you know what? There are other ways. We can go through a complete audit of the budget and find out what we can and where we can find money. Same with the TIFs. I propose a financial transaction tax and a commuter tax. I think we need to look
Independent analysts have looked at that and they said, that's not going to raise anywhere near what it's cost.
$357 million out of a commuter tax going into a pension obligation bond. Look, our pensions are
guaranteed. Those estimates, by the way, have not been confirmed independently.
Well, I think if you look at the numbers and 600,000 workers here, $30 billion that is made by those that live outside of the city and elsewhere, the numbers come, and look at the Department of Labor statistics for the state of Illinois. Those numbers are accurate. Now, when you couple it with a pension obligation bond, our pension obligations, everybody's talking about let's cut the obligations, let's cut the retirement benefits. The first responders, we have to live with our pensions. People just don't want to do that for whatever reason. They not only are they the ones who we all depend on, whether you're
understood. No one disputes that. The question is, how are you going to realistically fix the pension? $550 million due later this year, and the proposals you're suggesting, some folks just don't add up. Let me move on to Chuy Garcia. Mr. Garcia, in Sunday's Sun-Times, Mark Brown said that you could not have been more vague about how you would deal with the city's pension debt. You oppose reducing pensions, and no one seriously believes there's enough money to do it in TIFs or just by efficiencies. How would you do it? Be specific.
It took a long time to get here. The solution isn't going to happen overnight. What I have proposed is waiting for the Supreme Court to rule, the legislature to act. If they provide relief, we'll know what the accurate debt will be at that point in time. I have proposed taking a portion of the tax increment financing fund that the mayor currently controls and making a good faith down payment on it, acknowledging that we have the debt, then sitting down with the affected union representatives who are affected by this and negotiating a restructuring of that debt, always with an eye toward making it solvent. The entire payment is not due now. We can work that out. What we need here is transparency and a willingness to sit with all the stakeholders to arrive at solutions. There's no panacea in this.
That presupposes there's money in the TIF.
There is. I believe that there is.
Well, let's ask the mayor. It's been estimated that you control as much as $1.5 billion in uncommitted TIF funds. Is that accurate?
No. The fact is, of the 1.5 billion is committed to public schools, public transportation, streetscape, parks, and libraries.
So how much is uncommitted that you personally control?
No, first of all, we don't personally control. We work with aldermen and the businesses in the area. To give you an example, is Whole Foods is coming to Englewood. We're doing about $10 million of improvements in roads in the area.
Okay, but so how much money is uncommitted?
I think there's about 150 to 200 million. The 1.5 is already committed. No, but that's not. Here's the thing. Rather than wait, I went in office, changed the status quo, 4 budgets in a row that are all balanced without a property sales or gas tax increase, and 4 years in a row increasing investments in our children. I've negotiated 3 pension agreements that saved 61,000 workers their pension and did 2/3 of it through reforms and efficiency without asking for property taxpayers any increase in their property tax. There is a roadmap based on the record. And the fact is, I do believe in this situation that there's these two, both Bob and Chewy, have offered pension reform without any reform and pension revenue without any revenue, and that's not the right road.
Bob Fiorelli, how about that? Do you take the mayor's word that there's $150 million to $200 million in uncommitted TIP funds?
But no, I don't believe that that's the number. I think it is a lot higher. And, of course, what we heard were there are a lot of parks and schools. And, yes, I think TIPs need to be that for the infrastructure. But at the same time, if there's 150, let's say there's 100 million, all the city gets is 20 million out of that. So we have to realize, because then if we surplus it or we close a TIF, it goes to the other governmental entities. The city of Chicago only gets 20% of that. So
that being the case, if that's the case, Chewy Garcia, how do you make that down payment towards the pensions that you're talking about if it really isn't that much?
When I'm mayor, I will have control over that tax increment financing slush fund. However, I will be transparent about it so that people don't have to constantly file freedom of information requests to find out what's there, to guess at what has been committed and what is left. But the other thing we need to do is to close some of the TIF districts that have already accomplished the projects that they were supposed to accomplish and stop subsidizing friends of the mayor with incentives that aren't needed. They simply get them because they're friends of the mayor because they contribute to the kitty, as we read about.
Let me get Willie Wilson and all this. Your position on whether or not property taxes will, in some way, have to be on the table in order to get, in order for Chicago to get the revenue it needs.
I'm not for raising taxes on anybody. You can't raise the tax on the back of the poor. Yeah, but when you raise these taxes, you got business leaving out of the city. All right. If you cannot pay your light bill or your gas bill, all right, how are you going to continue to raise taxes on people? I will lower taxes, all right? Let's take gasoline tax, for example. If you lower...
You would lower taxes, and how would you pay the city?
Let me just say it.
$330 million budget deficit, $550 million payment
I think everybody up here, I'm the only person here in business, all right? So I have a record of success in business, all right? I don't have a record in success as a politician, all right? So I would do this here, a couple things I would do. Open up, you got to bring in new business. You can't keep raising taxes on people. When you raise taxes, business go out of town, all right? Open Mag Field up, $300 million, right there, okay? Contracts and jobs. Put a own casino in Chicago, all right? Open that up, let it be owned by the citizen. You don't build more hotels, because more people coming into the casino are going to stay in hotels, all right? You look at now Joliet, Indiana, those people are going out there. Who's supporting those? The people from Chicago supporting those casinos, all right?
All right, well, let's...
That's how you would start on it, all right?
Mayor, let me get back to you on the issue of property taxes, because you, sometimes you left open the door to the possibility of increasing property taxes, not for the operating budget, but to deal with pensions. What do you say to people who are alarmed at the prospect of a property tax for any reason?
Well, first of all, 4 years in a row, I've introduced every budget that's been balanced without a property sales or gas tax increase.
And you say you'll continue to do that with regards to the operating budget.
4 years in a row. 4 years in a row, I put money back into the rainy day fund. I eliminated the per employee head tax. I didn't cut it. I eliminated it. And 4 years in a row, we increased investments in our children. In addition to that, I took 50% of our pension challenge, made sure 61,000 workers get their retirement check, because that's what they count on and they contribute to, and made sure it was done without a property tax. I'm the only person that's actually secured people's pension without a property tax. I haven't talked about it. I'm not waiting for the Supreme Court. We've actually done it year in and year out, and 2/3 of the savings came from reforms and efficiency by working across the table.
And yet you did leave open the possibility of a property tax increase to help deal with the pensions, and some people are terrified at that prospect. Chewy Garcia, your take on that.
For 4 years, the mayor has, in fact, driven our finances deeper into the hole. When he promised to fix them when he ran for mayor 4 years ago, what has he done? He's borrowed $1.9 billion and indebted us until the year 2044.
Let me stop you. Is that true?
This is huge.
How do you see those bonds, that bond obligation?
Right, here's exactly what happened. When I came into office, our annual deficit was $600 million. We cut it in half in 4 years. And in fact, Lawrence Massal from the Civic Federation each year has said that the budget is bold and continues to restructure our finances. And 3 years, I've done 3 pension agreements working together, solving the pension, securing it for people without a property tax increase. And we've done it by doing the hard things and rolling up our sleeves, finding reforms and efficiency. And my record is a roadmap.
So will that be the argument that you bring to the citizens? Should you have to increase property taxes to pay for pensions? Look at my record. I did all I could. I held everything back, but now we have no choice.
What I'm going to say is what we've done, and I'm going to continue to work with my partners in labor and exactly secure their pensions by doing reforms and efficiencies without any property taxes.
Bob Fioretti, in terms of paying bills, your law firm has gotten a lot of publicity for not having paid some of its bills. If your law firm can't pay its bills, how can you pay the city's bills?
Well, actually, when we were victims of the recession just like everyone else. I got
That means
sick.
you were low on money.
No, I got sick. We had a couple clients that owed a lot of money that went into bankruptcy. But we paid all of our bills. That's not true. Everything has been settled. Everything has been paid. I don't know where that comes from, except for those that want to just attack in terms of what happened. Everybody knows that I had a serious bout with cancer. I wasn't even there. And I lost 50 pounds. I put 40 of them back on. I went to every city council meeting, and I tried to do what we could. I couldn't go out and talk to clients. I did everything. I believe in paying bills. That's number one, and I always do and always will.
Mayor, if red light cameras are about safety, why are your cars running them?
Yeah, well, as you know, even though I'm not driving, I've paid the bills. It is about safety. It's about making sure you reduce the T crashes that are the most dangerous. And when I got here, the firm that was operating it was corrupt. I threw them out, brought somebody else in, eliminated 16 locations that they operate in, made sure that, in fact, there was no new expansion of the efforts, and made sure that one other thing. I want the technology to reduce traffic accidents so our police officers are freed up to fight crime, gangs, and guns. I don't want them doing traffic reports when they can be doing the hard work of fighting crime on the streets of the city of Chicago.
The fact that you paid them, though, underscores the fact that you paid the bills out of your own pocket, underscores the fact that the city makes money off of them. Why not just say, you know what? Red light cameras have a safety component and a revenue component. If you don't break the law, you won't have to deal with a revenue component. Why not just say
Phil,
it's about revenue too?
No, because it's also about the integrity of safety. Because it does reduce side crashes in most accidents. All the data shows that. But it also makes sure that what we do and is making sure that our officers are freed up not to actually be writing traffic accidents, but to fighting crime on the streets of the city of Chicago.
If it's about safety, why are your cars running them?
Well, first of all, because the police officers are driving them, I pay them to make sure the systems has an integrity to them, Phil. But to note, in fact, is they keep a safety there. I've actually, threw the corrupt operator out, brought transparency to the system, made sure our officers are freed up to do their job, shut down in 16 locations. There are no longer red lights there. The only person that's actually shut them down.
By the way, why the need for a chase car, Mayor?
You should ask the security people about that. I'm here to make sure there's security for the people of the city of Chicago, not to check about that car.
Let me come on in.
Willie Wilson.
Yeah. Why is red light camera? I would shut them down. Red light camera in just about most of the neighborhood, but it ain't downtown Chicago. The red light camera, right? If you're gonna be in the west side, the south side, whatever side, why isn't it downtown Chicago? Yeah, I would shut those red light cameras down. It's wrong to be on the back of certain citizens in Chicago and not on all citizens. All right. So
and yet one does have a choice about the red lights. I mean, you don't have to run them.
He ran them. Let's face it, all right? He should be same thing by the law. You know, if he should pay double for them, all right? All right?
I'm probably the only person that's not driving and paying them.
Phil, it's quite clear that the arguments aren't supported by fact. The Texas University analysis said that there's safety involved in about 14% of instances where cameras are installed. That means that the rest have to go.
I thought it was closer to half.
No, they said about 14%. They caused 22% increase